Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Backstage with Angelo. Um, Unlike every day or every program, we don't have interviews today, except for we have two beauties that are going to help me share some stories about the Pink Shirt Day that is happening today. So I have Matea Henderson. She is Miss Earth Canada 2019. She's been to a lot of pageants and she has great projects like her own blog, for example, and so many other things I cannot say because basically I don't know. And but I do know about the other projects like her blog and basically everything she does in social media.
No, he
She
froze.
is Miss World International 2019 and she's been to seven pageants so far. Seven, right, Mercy?
Eight? No, seven. Seven. I
Seven?
think.
Okay.
I lost
Seven.
count
And
a while ago.
you have been to so many pageants that you cannot remember them all. That makes sense. So, and she has won a lot of prizes too, and she's very close to my heart. So, both of them are here to share stories today about the Insure Day. Basically, everything that they, or some things that they have gone through. And yeah, so I want to start. Sorry, I was seeing some strange lighting, so I got scared for a while. So, yeah, basically, we're here to share that. I'd like to start with any of you. So maybe Mercy, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So
I
do
want
I
to
have
be
to
the
start with anything specific or should I just go right into my
yeah.
perceptions?
What
Okay,
was that
well,
that made you remember the most? Like it was a really hard time where you had to face bullying, and you would like, or you would have liked to have someone next to you for support.
okay, so I think it's interesting how bullies can also be from your personal life. They could end up being people that you think are your friends, and then they don't treat you very well. Sort of a sheep's and wolf, or a wolf in sheep's clothing. Especially if you're the kind of person that wants to give people the benefit of the doubt, maybe even too much of the benefit of the doubt. But it's all about recognizing the signs of somebody not treating you well, or even just taking a moment to be committed to your self growth as you want to move forward and your positivity. And to get through it, you surround yourself with kindness and good people and giving yourself positive affirmations and the drive to just grow and be kinder each day, because we all make mistakes. We've all had those moments, especially growing up as a kid or a teenager. You don't know what impact you may have on another person until someone teaches you at times, or sometimes it comes naturally. But then you look back on those situations and you try to think, okay, anything that has been done bad to me and anything that I potentially have done bad to somebody else, how can I take a lesson from that and move forward so that this I prevent this from happening to someone else and I can contribute to being part of the light in this world. Um, Developing boundaries for yourself as well. You don't allow, as soon as you recognize those signs, I think it was really important for me to understand not allowing those people into my intimate life or in my life in general, and cutting off that access. So I think something that we forget, especially in the digital age where there's a lot of cyberbullying, especially, there's one thing that we could also do, which is we can block people or we could report those comments that they make or anything like that. I've definitely had a bunch of people come to me about those situations that they're in where they're like, this person's making me uncomfortable or I'm being bullied online. It's like, yes, that's happening to you. Totally, I understand. What are the different steps that we can take? And one of them can be like, I don't have to subject myself to reading those comments anymore, or to allow that person to come see my life, be involved in my life. I want a peaceful, positive life. I can turn off the computer, or I can block them out of it, because you shouldn't have to sacrifice your entire everything that you love. Like, say if you're part of a sports team, or and there's a bully there, or you're in school and you enjoy that and there's a bully there, you don't want to just completely shut off from that and stop doing the things you love just because someone there has hurt you. And you have to gauge that balance between like your own safety and seeing the people that gathering the resources to help you get through that situation, and also still being able to live your best life, right? Yeah.
And it's a really important point where you mentioned that it can be from your personal life, like people that are so close to you that certainly have an influence on how you think or how you might think or see things around you, right? Like, I don't know, cousins, uncles, sometimes parents. Like, you never know where it's gonna come from. But what's been that experience in your case that you can remember that probably helped you see that?
I'm trying to figure out how to word. Okay, so I guess
It's not easy.
there's been like a person that I regarded as like a friend, and I'm like, oh, like this is great. But then after a while, it was like, I don't know if this person really likes me, or if our friendship is genuine. Maybe they don't really want me around. And then after a while, it's like, okay, I'll give you your space and figure out. But then time after time, there would be something that would draw us together. And I would sort of be like, okay, well, maybe we do like each other and like all that stuff. Like, maybe it is good. But then I think the last interactions I had with them, it felt like every time we were around with somebody else, then they would start putting me down or make dismissive comments about me or my life. And it just got too much where I was in a situation where it was like, it was something it was someone in my like hobby and career. And I remember thinking like, friendships are really important to me. So to have that kind of experience done onto me, it made me feel really uncomfortable. And like, I don't know, I feel nervous about like opening my heart to making friends or feeling good about my hobby and going into that career and all that stuff. If this is the kind of friendship that I'm probably going to get back, or am I not good at detecting who's worth my time and not? I think the final straw was like, there was just so many situations where it was too confusing. And then when they started putting me down in front of other people, I realized like, this person doesn't respect me. This person isn't kind to me. I don't want them in my life anymore. And I don't know if it even matters, but sure. I think one day I just put a block on it because they made another comment. I don't even know if their words they really understood what they were doing. But to me, it was just like, you don't say that to people that you're trying to be friendly with, or why would you say that? And so I pressed that block button, and then I never looked back, and it was sort of like, okay, I don't need to say anything more. I don't need to like reach out and figure out why this person has shown me many times that they're going to do this to me. I just need to move on with my life and try my best to just look past it, try and avoid situations with them. Didn't want to stop myself from going after my career or hobbies that we shared or environments that we would be, because it was like, I'm not going to end my life and stop my passions for that. We can just do our things separately and leave it at that.
Yeah. And it's never easy to face it and probably talk it to that person. I understand that. It's sometimes it's easier if it doesn't come from so close to you, right? Matea,
That's
have you had something? Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was
Mercy?
just saying, yeah, that's the tricky part, especially it's like you're gonna encounter them from time to time. Yeah.
And Matea, have you had such experience, or was yours different? Like the one
Um,
you can remember?
I feel like there's been so much different variation of bullying, and it's how you define bullying. Because realistically, if someone is put in a compromised position, whether it's verbally or physically, emotionally, spiritually, whichever way you look at it, I always believe you choose to act a certain way when someone acts in that direction for you. So you're the only person who can control your reaction. My family has always told me, like, people come into your life for a specific reason, and once they've served their purpose or taught you a specific lesson, then they exit. So for me, I think bullying specifically is a really tricky subject, because I find so many people are hypersensitive now to the names they get called, or the social situations of kids learning how to socialize. I think that's a really tricky thing, because realistically, people are going to be excluded and people are going to be included. It's I hate saying it's human nature but it's finding the people that you best connect with. And sometimes that takes time. If you truly connect with some friends, some of my closest friends I've had since I was 2, and we live in completely different countries. But no matter where we are, we can consistently pick up and keep moving that way. But there are people that I'm friends with for a couple of months and then they disappear out of my life. And I'm going, I don't take it personally. It's not a reflection on me. It just means we're not meant to be in the same circle. So for me, if bullying gets to a point where it leads to anxiety, whether it's socially, physically, any sense there, if it leads to mental illness, if it leads to physical assault or verbal assault, that's kind of where I draw the line with bullying. I think especially because Mercy and I think our first pageant was, 2013? And we did Miss Teenage Alberta. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in that context, you have so many beautiful women and you have so many accomplished young women who have aspirations that most people go, oh, that's not realistic. And I think we're pigeonholed in such a position where people go, oh, they're just pretty, or, oh, they just like to be on stage. And it really minimizes and diminishes the quality of which women have. That's so incredible, whether it's being able to multitask or communicate in different ways and being able to have that intuition that women have. I think you can definitely pick it up in a different sense, but being in a situation, whether it's academic, whether it's sport, whether it's hobby, whether it's just your personal life, you are either going to mix with the people you want to mix with or you're not. And it's nothing to do with a reflection on you unless someone goes out of their way with malintent to be disrespectful. And that's kind of where I draw the line with it. Is it frozen again? Is he frozen again? Oh, he's moving.
I just heard until malintent, and that's the last thing I
Yeah,
heard.
that was it. So pretty much if someone has like malintent to go out of their way to hurt you, that's where I draw the line with bullying. But if someone I just don't mix with, I don't take it personally because they're not meant to be in my life. It may just be an energy thing. It could be a personality thing. It's not meant to be hurtful. It's just there's so many other people that might be meant for you instead.
Mm-hmm.
And what you mentioned about the pageants, there's two sides of it. There is the side that you mentioned that people think you guys are just there for, oh, I just like to be on a stage. I just like to show that I'm pretty. And that's on one side. And the other side, there is the backstage where sometimes there's women who are also competing and they start trying to diminish the others, especially those are strong contestants, because they have fear. So that's the reflection of their fear. But I want to go back to the other part, because people don't understand that pageants is an option. It's an option for women, just like for some men, gaming, like computer games, is an option. So I understand for some women, they think that's probably, I'm not judging them because at some point I was one of them, but probably gaming is stupid. But for some other women, they might think, well, it's not. It's an option because they just want to do it. So what about pageants? It's another option. What about doing sports? It's another option. What about being, doing or producing social content? Oh, those guys are wasting their time. Why? No, we're expressing ourselves. We're using this platform to communicate something that we have inside of us, right? And there's where the haters come in, when they don't understand that there can be people in the world that think differently and that they do things or other things that they would probably not do. And the world is made of options. So it's a really probably hard situation. Have any of you had, well, Mercy already said there was someone who was very close to her. I'm not even going to ask names or anything. Matea, anyone that probably was very close to you and you felt some kind of bullying or?
I think I've gotten a pretty tough skin over the years, especially modeling when I modeled and acting when I did, because I started when I was 16. So I really learned not to take things personally in that space. But I think the most recent one that comes to mind is in September, I did a social media detox. I just shut off my platforms. I just didn't look anything. I put blocks on all my apps. I deleted everything off my phone, and I'm going, I just need a month to myself, because I'd been doing social media professionally for, I'd say, 3 or 4 years on paid contracts with actual companies to run their accounts. And I just got to a point where I'm going, I'm not creative. I'm not enjoying the process. I was moving across the country at the same time in a global pandemic. I had just been diagnosed celiac, so we were trying to figure out the ramifications of what damage had been done. So a month later comes around and I'm back on social media, and I just said, so happy I did this. Like, social media can be so toxic if you don't have the right people around you. Because in March of that year, I deleted 7,000 to 9,000 people off just Instagram who were either derogatory, diminishing people's character, attacking different communities, who were predators. I'm going, I don't need my space where other people are coming into to be targeted. Whether there's an intention behind it or not, I need to make it a safe place. That is my choice as Matea to have that responsibility. And so I made this post. I'm like, heads up, just moved to Vancouver if you guys didn't know. So happy to be back with this amazing community of people. And a woman commented and said, are you sure you just didn't have enough time to prep for Miss World Canada? And I thought, well, that comment kind of came out of nowhere, because Miss World Canada had just announced the day prior that I was competing, and I was unaware that they'd done it. So I'm going, well, that's awkward timing. And I just kind of thought to myself, I'm like, this isn't a reflection on me. This is a choice that another woman who is in the industry went out of her way to say, out of nowhere. And I'm going, I have no relationship with you. I know one person who knows you. Why do you feel you have the right in this space to go out of your way to say something when you are teaching women integrity and to compete in pageantry? That's really not a good position to be put in. And so I messaged the girl she was coaching, and I said, hey, the majority of my social media on Instagram are pageant fans. I don't want this to reflect bad on you, because you're in this industry and you didn't have anything to do with this. I know this is your coach. I just wanted to give you a heads up so it's not reflecting ill on you. And within 10 minutes, she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I will have words with her. And I left it. When I came home from Miss World Canada, I didn't realize her coach was actually backstage at the pageant. And I'd just come off stage, I'd made top 15, and I just remember thinking, I did what I wanted to do. I wanted to compete with integrity and courage and kindness and just have a really good time. It's the first time I went in where I'm like, I don't need to win. I want to go for the experience. And I remember sitting backstage and I was crying. I was so happy. I never have to wear Chinese lingerie heels again. I could build my business. I could build my bread. I could eat whatever I wanted, being celiac within reason. And I was sitting there crying. And so I got an email from her a couple of days later when I'd come home, because backstage I'd said, no matter what position you're in pageantry or in life, you're put in a position to be judged, whether it's academically, professionally, in whatever hobby you do, you're going to be judged by people. And I said, I'm just so happy I don't have to be judged in a context by other women in pageants if I choose not to do pageants again, because it's such a critical space. So she sent me this massive email apologizing, saying my accounts were hacked, all these things. And I'm going, look, I wish I would have known you were there, because I would have confronted you in person. I didn't take it personally. I just didn't want it to reflect badly on your business, because you want to be a predominant coach in this industry. And if you are coaching people, this isn't going to reflect well on you. I said, whether you were hacked or not my problem. Definitely get a social media coordinator who can handle that for you, so that's not a liability on your business and your reputation. And I said, but you need to be aware of the circumstances I was in when that comment was received, just so you have a perception of how I was feeling, so that if it happens again, whether you were hacked or not, you are not going to be compromised professionally or personally. So I think that was the most recent one. But I wasn't offended. I was trying to make sure that the girl she was associated with wouldn't be in a position of harassment from the industry. That was my biggest concern.
Yeah. You know, that's a great attitude, because most people, even when, and that was a direct attack, right? Like that was so direct to you.
It was so passive aggressive that I just went, this is not this isn't okay, but I'm not offended. Yeah.
It's also it's what sometimes people say, that whatever people think about me is none of my business, and sometimes that is the best way to go about it. Sometimes people are very sensitive, and sometimes it feels like they just need attention, and one way to do it is creating a problem where there is not. um, some people get offended about so many things. um, when I was a kid, someone very close to me would criticize me and make fun of me because I was super thin. And I grew up on that, you know, basically stigma of feeling ugly because I was super thin. And I was trying to eat everything I could, um, super unhealthy. Like, and that's for people to see if they think, because if they stop eating, they will lose weight. They might not. I started eating everything I wanted, everything I shouldn't, and I didn't gain 1 pound.
You must have
And
had a great metabolism.
yeah, and I was still feeling miserable on the fact that I couldn't gain weight because it was killing me. The fact that I was super extremely thin, until I started gaining weight, and then I was like, no, I don't like being overweight. Until I reached the point of, wait a minute, this is me. So someone has to start loving someone, right? Like oneself. And that was me. I was like, F it. I mean, I'll just eat what I want, try to do it healthy, try to work out when I can and when I have time and if I want to. And and just stop feeling sorry for who or what I look like, right? Like who I am or what I look like. And those physical criticism, they have to get out of our lives somehow.
People are going to love you for you, and if there's people around you that are just putting you down because you don't look like this or you're not doing this to like this, then chances are they're not the people that you want to be surrounding into your life.
That's completely true. Now the other point that I was talking about before, because that was a front stage, not the backstage, that I've seen women bullying other women, right, in pageants. Have you guys had that experience, like someone bullied you during the pageant so that you could feel like lower your energy until the point that you would feel the loser and basically not win the pageant? Which in your
For me,
cases, it didn't work if it happened.
well, for me, that story that I was telling was pageant related. And I remember at the time it really did crush me because for a moment I had that, I think after that competition or like the times that we had spent together, then after I was like, this is kind of a bummer. Like, is this the kind of people I'm gonna meet? Because I also met people, it just so happened that whatever competition it was, I also happened to confront a bunch of people at the same time that were also very just self-absorbed. And I was like, I don't want to become like this. Is this something that I'm gonna become, or I don't know. And I'd kept it to myself. I wasn't all like, hey, you're self-absorbed or something. I'm like, that's their journey. But I remember like feeling so discouraged. I'm like, because I love going to pageants, first of all, to meet new people and to make friends. And so when I came out of that pageant, like experiencing that, and then I think there was like that moment where like you lose a little bit of hope and like, oh, do I really want to be a part of this? And like, it didn't feel good to know that there was somebody that gave. So it was hard when I was going throughout the week, kind of every now and then when I was coming home. But then when I was coming home, I got a call for this job offer, and I was like, yeah, I'll go to it. And it involved like learning about. I think that jump started a huge push in like self growth, and positive affirmations. And that's when I started to surround myself with like a bunch of people that were very empathetic and loving and caring. And there was a lot of vulnerability and learning so much about safe talk and bullying too, and how to manage difficult conversations and conflicts. And then that's when I kind of began this growth journey. And I was like, I'm so glad I met those people and I got that job offer as soon as I landed, because it really did change my life, and was like, okay, no, I realized that I'm gonna have those bad moments. my reactions matter, how I'm gonna get through this. And if I just stop doing all these things because it makes me uncomfortable, or this person makes me feel this way, or that thing happened, it's not going to be fun for me. Am I really just going to cower in the back and like let my emotion, like they don't care about how I feel. The bullies don't care, or like whoever does, like whatever you don't care about the long-term ramifications of what they've done to you, or even realize it sometimes. So you have to live your life at the end of the day, knowing that like these choices, like, because I think I've had different situations, like when I was especially very younger, like the teen angst period of my life, being like, oh, this person says I'm dumb, I'm gonna be extra dumb, and if they really think I'm stupid, or something like that, like something irrational. When you're like crying, you're like, but then right away I'd be like, that's not smart, don't do that, like that's not going to matter to them, that's you're only affecting yourself, you're going to affect the people that you love around you, like don't do that. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, it's cool.
That's maturity, right? That
yeah. And it took a while. There are like little things that I was really wise about, like when I was younger, and it helped me a lot in different situations. And then as you get older, you learn more and more and more, and are better at pointing out those things. And you just look back at yourself and like, oh, I wish I handled this situation like that, or I wish I talked to my bully this way or something and confronted them. Maybe they just were misunderstood, or I don't even know. But it's a regular part of life. You're going to confront people that are not kind to you at any facet. I have tons of friends that have told me their stories where it will be within their own family or in a professional workplace. Like when I was working in student government, I was told about like certain stuff happening in student government where like you think these professional people, but they're picking on each other between the ranks sometimes. And it's like, oh no. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is an example of like adulthood, professional workspace bullying and all that stuff. But you know, again, reactions matter a lot. Of course, it's gonna sting a bit, and I think that's fair to process that and get in tune with what your emotions are at that time. But then don't give up just because these people are going to try and push you down. I remember my friend who was going through that whole like workspace or workplace bullying. She had her moments of like, I want to leave this career. Like, is this really what it's going to be like? I have high hopes of changing like education and helping people. And she's like the nicest person ever. So it was just surprising that all these people were picking on her within, or like not respecting her in the workplace setting. And, you know, she came out of it stronger. She's like, I'm not going to continue. She's like, I'm going to continue the rest of my term, but I'm not going to repeat this year. I think I'm going to move on to bigger, better things in like a space, find the space where people are loving and accepting. And she did. And now she's going through like a master's and a really successful career and all that stuff. Like that's the kind of reaction, like it made her stronger. She recognized, she had her moment of grief, recognized what was going on and understood that like, maybe this is happening because these people see that I'm doing this very well and they don't like that, or they feel threatened or something, or whatever it is, but that has nothing to do with me at the end of the day, really. And I just got to push forward and keep true to my values and not lose my faith in humanity and other people.
That's the most important thing, because it's easy.
Oh, okay.
It's so frozen. I'm going to shut my window because it is freezing here. There's no
Yeah,
sun, but
it cut off again.
Very
That was
good.
good.
Hard to tell where.
That was perfect timing for me. Give me an excuse to shut my window.
Yeah, so yeah, what I was saying is that sometimes it is well, I think I missed my train of thought, to be honest. I don't remember what I was going to say, but thank you, Skype. Yeah, I don't remember what I was about to say. That's
Actually,
true.
I have another footnote on reactions because I think that's what I was getting into. And I think the one other scenario that I look back on and I'm really glad the way that I handled that, and I kind of give that as a parable to other people when we talk about being in situations like that. I remember I was at a house party in university, and and then a guy came up to me all of a sudden out of nowhere and was just like, "You're not attractive." And I was like, "Okay." And then he's like, "You're not attractive because you're black." And I was like, I thought of so many things. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna say? Like, oh my God. And I was just like, immediately my reaction just switched, and I was like, you know what? That is your personal opinion, and that's okay. If that's what you want to do, I don't personally agree with that. But if that's you, then you don't have to come sit here and talk with me. I'm not asking you for anything, but you go ahead and do whatever you want. Just to keep me out of it. Like,
exactly.
I had that, instead of losing my mind on him and stuff. And I was like, you know what? That's your opinion. And then after that, I think he kind of doubled down because he got upset that I didn't get upset. And then other people came in and were like, hey, man, that's not cool. So it's interesting how those things go. And then I think later on, this kind of touches into like the weird way that people act out sometimes, because I, like, after a while, after this person was still in like a circle of friends that I was with, and then they were actually like just acting out because they were frustrated that I didn't want to be with them. And I was like, oh, and he's like, why won't you go out with, I'm like, really? You think I'm gonna go out?
That's so weird.
Like, is that, no. What? It was so weird.
There's a door right there and it's open, so
See, with those situations, it was like, I'm so glad I didn't waste my energy being upset about that or blowing up on him or anything like that, because it's like, this is not worth my time. This is not worth the energy. And there's certain situations that you could just look at them and be like, okay, I gotta just get out of here and let's go our separate ways.
So weird. Has
Yeah.
anything like that happened to you? I see that you're a little bit like disturbed. Like, what?
I can picture this happening to Mercy just vividly. I think, I think the thing is, like, it's going to sound so weird. I'm grateful I was bullied when I was bullied, because it taught me so many different valuable things, whether it was conflict mitigation, whether it was knowing the right people, type of people that I wanted to surround myself with, who I learned to trust. And I definitely am the person who trusts way too much too quickly. And I learned how to put up the right barriers and the right walls at the right time. It sounds weird. I'm so grateful I was bullied in the capacity which I was, because I went, this isn't a reflection on me. This is other people's issues happening internally where they feel safe enough to take it out on me, because they know I'm not going to lash out at them. They know I'm not going to react, because I value that relationship. And when it got to a point where it was too much, I took a step back. Yeah, Mercy, that story just...
It's disturbing.
I'm replaying it in my head. That's weird.
Yeah,
it's odd.
That situation has played out different times, because again, they were still part of a circle of friends that we had mutual friends. Mm-hmm. But there was different moments where like he'd get really drunk and then lash out. Like I remember there was like at one point the guys went off somewhere and I was like, oh, can I come? And then he yelled back like, no black girls allowed. And I was like, jeez. And it was just so bizarre. And I just remember I'm like telling our mutual friends about this, and they're like, oh, why won't you hang out? I'm like, he said those things. And I remember the next morning he like gaslighted me. So I was like, I don't remember saying that. I didn't do that. But they continued that kind of behavior whenever he got jealous or something like that. I wasn't around him too much. It was just like the occasional house
interaction.
Yeah. So it was bizarre.
I think I know what the problem was. And there was something that you were not giving him that he needed. And it was a punch on the face. That would have been probably something that he needed. You cannot tell that. I mean, you should not tell that to a lady, right? And especially
you shouldn't say that to anyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's go back to Bambi. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Like, it's the typical Disney situation. I think realistically, like with bullying, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, like, it taught us so many different transferable skills. And if it was something truly impactful, that will make us stronger human beings. But realistically, if someone is being bullied, if anyone is in a position where you can visibly see the discomfort, stepping in to make sure they're okay is nothing wrong, because that's the right thing to do. But it's making sure the person is safe, comfortable, feeling nurtured and cared for, but most importantly, understood. Because you don't know what they're going through, you don't know what the bully is going through, and being able to have an open dialogue about it in a safe place, especially as a kid, is so important. Because when you're an adult, you have a more conscious choice to go, no, these are the people I want in my life, versus this is the group I have to be academically with. And I think being in university, being in elementary school and high school, you're forced to learn to engage with difficult people. And that's going to be in the workplace. That's going to be daily on the bus, on a plane, at an airport, anywhere. And I think being bullied, as harsh as it is going to give you those skills to get through daily life and choose who you want to surround yourself with. So yeah, Mercy, you made a conscious decision to avoid that. So kudos on you, because I don't know if I would have been as graceful.
Yeah, well, I guess ladies are more, classy when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, it's
I think it's
for
interesting
me.
though, 'cause I think to a certain point, if I saw it happening to someone else, I would definitely step in. But when it's happening to me, depending on the situation, I could be like, okay. Like if I'm like, I know this person's gonna cause more trouble, there's no, or like I know that their mindset is so stuck somewhere. I'm like, there's no point in me having a further conversation or getting involved or like building up this like energy that he's gonna like blow up or something. I'm like, I'll leave it alone. But if there's something detrimental, then I'll definitely be like, hey, you can't talk to people like that. But at a certain point, it's like, and that's an interesting thing too, because I remember not thinking about what bullying really meant and stuff in like, or like me and my peers didn't when we're in elementary school and stuff. But I remember the school had hired and I think it was really important that they did this. I hope they're still doing something like this, where they hired a speaker to come in and they essentially explained cliques and bullying to us and what it looks like. And a bunch of us, like, she called us all out on like little things that were like, oh my gosh, that's bullying, or like that's like, we just didn't think about it enough. And I remember one of the most impactful parts was she made a whole unit on being a bystander. And being a bystander is one of the most critical things that I think people have to pick up on. I remember when I realized it, I was like, oh man, thinking back at all the times that I was a bystander and just thinking that, oh, if I don't get involved, then this is just fine. But then it's like, no, you're letting it happen and you're watching it happen. But I think it's awesome and brave that there are a bunch of, it's more common nowadays that some people are going to stand up for their friend and be like, hey, he's wearing a pink shirt, I'm gonna wear a pink shirt too. And like, that's not right, that somebody's gonna pick on someone like that. Like, just everybody kind of calling each other out instead of just like sitting there and maybe filming what's happening and not doing anything, or just walking past it to pretend it's not there and be safe in your own little bubble. The truth is that in the real world, you're not going to be protected by that bubble forever. Like, that's just not the reality. You have to be able to stand up for yourself and others when you see something's wrong, because it's kind of the whole mentality of like, it takes a village, and it's going to take a village for all of us to enact that change in the world, right?
That is true. And I think that's happening nowadays because there's more awareness, like because of basically these basically the people's creativity, like in this case a pink
Oh, I'll tell him where he left off.
Perfect, thank you.
cut off again. Okay,
you're good.
So
You're
last pink, and then that was it.
Pink shirt.
Yeah, the pink day shirt. Yeah, the pink shirt day. If it was not because of this, maybe people in Canada, and I'm just going to the case of Canada, maybe many people would not be aware of it and why it was created and what's going on. And that's something that people do. So basically, that's like when you're contestants in a pageant and you're talking about awareness. Sometimes people think it's a cliche, but no. Awareness is the beginning of understanding a problem and trying not to be part of it, or trying to avoid it, or help stopping it. So it's really important, and that's why, Mercy, I think nowadays it's easier that it doesn't happen, that many people would stand for others and say, hey, you know what, I cannot see this happening and just do nothing about it. I have to step in and do my part. Probably that's why.
Campaigns are so important, yeah.
And I gotta say this, because in Canada, and I haven't seen this in other places, in other countries I've lived in. In Canada, there is a really high standard of respect, where people can actually be respected for who they are, for what they do, and they can express freely, and that needs to be respected. It's really That's a reality.
Mhm.
And this is for people in other places in the world to know. It's a good model to follow. In
Mhm.
my opinion, it's really positive. It's really good.
I think in those kind of discussions, I've heard people be like, "Oh, well, it's not perfect." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I think we all agree that it's not perfect. That everyone agrees
Yeah.
that universally in Canada, but that's what we're striving for. And definitely comparatively, we're doing really great on that part."
No, I think you guys hit it like spot on. It's having that collective consciousness to go, look, you might be different than me, but I respect those differences. No matter whether it's faith, race, religion, what food you eat as a kid at the lunch table, what you do academically or professionally, to each their own. And realistically, like a human being is a human who deserves to be loved and respected. And if we consciously take the time to allow people to be in their own spaces and share their diversity, their individualism as a united collective, as Canadians or even global citizens, if we take the time to educate ourselves on our differences, I think that's the most beautiful thing we can do, because if we're more conscious in educating about those little weird things that we do as individuals, like I'm the most uncoordinated person ever, like Mercy has seen me fall so many times backstage just trying to do something. But she looks at me and she starts to laugh because she goes, yeah, that's Matea, and she'll help me up. But what I appreciate is those little differences. We're learning as a society to accept them and go, if this person wants to do this, this is great, as long as it's not harming this person, harming themselves, or harming a mass population. We respect that decision and we want to know why they're doing it.
Teach people to approach unfamiliar situations when it comes to culturalness and diversity and all those little odd things and subcultures that we have. Teach from a young age, be more inquisitive and open-minded and curious instead of reacting to something odd. Like I remember the food that I bring to school, my mom is Asian, so then like a lot of my food would be like different and like weird Asian meals, and then people would pick on me on it to the point that there was a chapter in my life where I'd throw out my food at school because I just feel so embarrassed. Everyone was like, ew, what is that, or that's weird, or that smells weird, but I'm like, this is delicious, it's my favorite thing. And I think at a certain point, it took a while to like get over that and realize like, no, I love food, I'm gonna eat it. But when I was a kid, definitely it was when people were more like, oh, what's that? Like instead of like, hey, that's unfamiliar, what is that? Like, let me understand what this is, instead of right away telling this person by being like, ew, gross, whatever, that I don't want to learn, I don't want to know what this is, you're weird, you're disgusting. Like, just be more open-minded and like inquisitive of what's happening here. You know.
That's completely true, and it's really nice that we live in a country where we not only have, well, that we have the pink t-shirt or pink shirt day, because it teaches people how to be more tolerant. And when you tolerate, it's not, you know what, I'm gonna correct that, because it should not be tolerance. We shouldn't be talking about tolerance. It should be more about inclusion, or accepting that there's differences, and we need to learn to live with differences, and that's what makes the world rich. That you can see different things in the world. That's what makes it fun. Imagine everybody being the same. That would be so weird. I mean,
It'd be so boring.
exactly, boring is actually the word. Yeah, so I am very glad, girls. It's been great to share this time with you, and be able to hear your experiences. I don't think we've ever talked about it, and I think this, for February 24th is the perfect day, so that other people can hear, and probably those that feel they're alone, and probably those who feel, oh, I'm so ugly or heavy or tall or thin, they will see, well, see, these are two beautiful women standing right in front of a camera. They went through the same. They're beauty queens, and they went through that. So it can happen to anyone. You just need to learn how to approach it, how to handle it, and not let this affect your life forever.
And I think you
I don't
said that
know.
beautifully.
I don't know if you guys want to add something else before we we we
I think the
finish.
thing that I want to add to is I hope that there's more initiative out there, and I kind of want to bring that. I want to work on that into being a platform that I work hard on, where we talk about how to children and youth and all that stuff about how to use social media and how to be safe on social media. I know that there's already discussions about it, but it still seems that there's this pattern of people not understanding, or children not understanding, that people are going to be mean online for no reason. Oh, yes.
Excuse me, can you say that again because it just got off?
Oh, whoops. Should I start over?
Until two children.
Okay.
That's the last thing I heard.
The issue with youth today, a huge one, is social media. They, especially with seeing like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, seeing influencers, they misunderstand, what reality is like, the realities of doing a photo shoot or being in a pageant. Like there's like all these misconceptions and pressures that they're putting on themselves, especially like when you see things on Instagram. It's like, oh man, everything can always be better. Everything's gamified. Everything seems like you have to go to the next step. There's so much pressure put onto everybody on those platforms, big or small. And also understanding that there are just some people on the internet that are there to be mean. They don't even know you. They don't even know what's going on in your life. They just want to be mean just to be mean online, and not to take those comments like seriously at times, especially as we see a lot of younger people going on TikTok and becoming these stars all of a sudden, and all of a sudden being bombarded with a lot of attention and love, but also a lot of hate. And they don't know how to deal with that. That is such a harrowing experience to just not understand, like, okay, why does all these people hate me, and like, oh man, they're making comments about my body or like this thing, and like it's just so hard to be a teenager and go through that. And I think if there's more awareness on like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what the internet is like, especially. So like, how do you navigate through that? Because the internet isn't just like, oh, hey, changing our society in Canada alone. The internet is filled with everyone from different countries where maybe their norms are all very different and their tolerance and their kindness are different. So you're gonna, no matter what, in something so vast as the World Wide Web, you're gonna encounter people who don't have great intentions. And it's very important that we emphasize that to the youth and explain to them different ways that they can manage around those situations, including not knowing when you don't have to respond, knowing when you just have to delete a comment or shut off devices or block somebody or anything like that.
Nice. That's, yeah. Matea, anything you'd like to say out?
I think with the platform you're creating, Angela, I'm so grateful for the fact you're bringing awareness to so many great topics, but you're also working with so many individuals who understand their own responsibilities of having their designated platforms and the people who follow them, whether it's as an influencer, as a role model, as someone they aspire to be. And I think I've gotten to the point where I'm so grateful for the platform I've curated, and I don't take enough responsibility all the time. So I can honestly say, with, I guess, this coming out on Pink Shirt Day, if I've ever been in a situation where I've truly offended someone, I can't be more sorry. I can't go back and change what happened, but I'm willing to take accountability for the actions I have. And if there's something I've truly done to offend anyone who's watching this, because you have such an incredible group of people who support you, I can't be more heartfelt in if I've ever done anything that offends you, if I'm conscious of it or if I am unconscious of it, because it could be in the moment. It could be with other people. We all know women talk, especially in pageantry. But for me, I understand that I need to take responsibility for my actions, no matter the circumstance, because that is the right thing to do, to manage conflict, to be respectful, and to also understand that people's feelings are going to be hurt in close circles or in open environments. But I'm willing to take responsibility for that.
And I join your opinion and the fact that you're saying sorry in front of the camera, right? I think I feel I'm in the same boat. For those people that I probably have offended, I want to apologize as well. I'm pretty sure Mercy it's probably in the same boat, and it's about recognizing, because we're not perfect, right? Like,
no, we're humans. Before. It's natural.
You look back at like high school and middle school, or even in adulthood, where you're like, oh man, that wasn't the best way to handle things. Could have done things differently. You'll sort of be live and learn, and hopefully people who are upset with you are going to come talk to you or not. But there are even situations where I didn't even confront the people that I know that I've hurt, and then I realize it way later on, and I'm like, oh man, that's terrible, because we're not in contact. Or maybe it's like someone from a distant past. It's like, oh wait, all of a sudden it clicked in my head that that's something that I did in the past. Okay, what did I do? How do I prevent that from happening in the future? How can I learn from this and grow? Yeah.
And that's the reality. It's been great to talk to you guys, and I really hope that many people out there who are watching understand that there's two sides, and we need to learn how to step in the shoes of other people and understand maybe what I'm saying. How would I get it if it was being told to me as a person, and what is that person probably going through? Let's be more inclusive, let's be more respectful to people, and I'm saying this starting by myself, and yeah, so I think I love celebrating this day with you guys. It's been great, and thank you very much for finding the time, because I'm pretty sure you had to tweak something on your calendars. I appreciate that.
Anything for you.
Thanks very much. And of course, I would love to meet you guys again for coffee. Mercy is in Calgary, Matea is in Vancouver. I'm probably going to Vancouver in summer. Who knows?
You know what? Come visit whenever there's no snow. I'm literally just hiding from like the extreme sunlight. So
I saw you.
I'm like, this is gonna ruin this video. I need to sit back.
I saw you going by like.
Well, it's this or this.
Well, no, stay right there. I mean, the other one has like, you know, the movie kind of style.
Yeah.
But then you'll be like... Well, thank you very much, everyone, for sharing this moment with us. And of course, as always, we'll see you in the next episode of Backstage with Angelo. It was Mercy Maddox, Miss World International 2019, and Matea Henderson, Miss Earth Canada 2019. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Backstage with Angelo. And today we're celebrating a very special day. We just had Matea and Mercy, and now I have another person that I really wanted to have also in the show, because we're going to share some stories. You probably heard mine already, so I would probably not say it again. But I have Samantha Sewell. She's Miss Tourism World Canada 2021. And she is right here with us. Hi, girl. Yes, we did have an interview like 2 weeks ago. And, well, it was more than that, but I posted it 2 weeks ago. Or actually last week. It was last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we shared amazing stories. Like, Samantha's story is really, really inspiring for so many people, including myself. Like, I really loved it. And we couldn't have the Pink Shirt Day without you, that you're an ambassador, one of the ambassadors for it. But we also want to talk about the story and who created it, because they deserve all credits and all respects in this day, right?
Yeah.
So I'll let you say it, Samantha.
Okay, well, I don't know the official names of the young boys, but there were boys in, I believe it was Nova Scotia, who were in high school. Yes. And one individual boy came to school wearing a pink shirt. And because of this, people started bullying him. They started saying obscenities to him. They started making this boy feel terrible about himself. However, there was a group of just two individuals, and I think this story is so powerful because it can show that it only takes one or two people to make a difference. It's insane. And these two boys, they came together and they said, you know what? Tomorrow we're gonna wear a pink shirt. So they got as many people as they can in the school to wear a pink shirt the next day to support this kid, and just to show that it's okay to wear a pink shirt, and it was not okay what was happening to him. And eventually the entire school was wearing pink shirts, and the media got a hold of it, and eventually it was just sort of born that Pink Shirt Day was a thing in Canada. The last week of February every single year is Anti-Bullying Week. And then the last Wednesday of every single February, every single year, is Pink Shirt Day, where we come together and we speak about why we wear pink shirts and anti-bullying. Myself, I founded the program Be Someone's Hero, Not a Bystander. So I go to schools and I speak to schools about Be Someone's Hero, Not a Bystander. However, I do want to emphasize that while Pink Shirt Day is such an important day, we should be Pink Shirt Day all year round. Pink Shirt Day educates us and reminds us to be kind and how to be someone's hero, not a bystander, and how to make a difference. But we need to do that all year round, not just on the last Wednesday of February.
Exactly. It's like an everyday thing that people should remember. And Samantha, I think the name was, I'm reading here, it's actually two guys. Well, as you said, two guys. One is David Shepard and the other one is Travis Price. So took a stand against homophobic bullying after a New Year 10 student who was arrested and threatened for wearing pink. So, and yes, it started in Nova Scotia in 2007, according to, I'm reading the information from the official website, from the Pink Shirt Day official website. And yeah, I think it's great that people are doing that, and like they understand that they have to step in the shoes of the other people before making comments that can probably be racist or discriminatory of any kind, because discrimination can come in so many colors, I would say, or so many ways. Before continuing and before I forget, I just wanted to let you know that Mercy Maddox, Miss World International 2019, she asked me to say to you, hello, I would really love to meet her. I would really love to see Samantha. She had to run because obviously this was a last minute thing, right?
Yeah.
And still you guys were able to do it, like you found time in your schedules to make it work. So I told Mercy I'm gonna make sure I tell that to Samantha. So yes.
Well, hi, Mercy. Find her on Instagram and message her. Just be like, hey.
She's really sweet. Yeah, you should. You definitely should. She was like, oh my god, I would love to meet her. I was like, she's a sweetheart. So, and I know Mercy for a while. She's really, really nice to beautiful girl. So yeah, we were talking about that and our experiences. A week ago we posted I posted our interview, and you told us about what happened in grade 9, and which is very similar to the story of the Pink Shirt Day. But I was reading through it, I was like, wait a minute, Samantha told me the same. Like, it happened in 9th grade. Is that like why? Why 9th grade? Can you hear me, Samantha?
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry. Okay, so basically I was sharing with Matea Henderson, Miss Earth Canada 2019, and Mercy Maddox is the one who said it was crazy to meet you. They told their stories, and basically they brought in the pageantry topic, right? Because there is bullying from like the front side and on backstage, right? Like front stage and backstage. Have you ever experienced that, Samantha?
I have actually been very, very lucky. I've never experienced bullying on the pageant stage or backstage ever, which I'm shocked, because I feel like, that's sort of the stereotype. I know when I entered pageantry, my mom was terrified I'd get bullied. I've actually only had positive experiences of girls lifting each other up. A few years back, there was a girl competing with me, and she messed up on stage. She tripped and fell, and everyone was like, knew she wanted that title, and that that probably just put her chances of getting it. And when she came off, the love and support she got backstage blew my mind. Like, we all hugged her. We all thought it was okay. We all stood with her. I've never experienced any bullying in pageantry.
That's really nice, especially because well, what I mean is, like, some people that are watching you, there's many people who will love you guys, and some other people that would probably be criticizing internet trolls just instead of supporting and understanding that you guys have a platform,
Yeah.
they probably just criticize, and sometimes
Oh,
there's
I've had bullying in pageantry by not other girls, you mean?
oh no, in general
Oh, in general, yeah. 2 years ago, I was Miss Canada for the Miss Royalty International system, and that year I got severely cyberbullied and attacked by an individual who went by Frank Castle, which, if you don't know, is a fictional Marvel character. And they had this profile on Facebook, and they commented on every single one of my posts that I was fake. I was faking my speech impediments. I wasn't true about my titles. I bought all my titles. I didn't deserve them. On and on. They were attacking me, my sponsors, my family. They had private messaged some of my sponsors. And that whole few days, I was terrified, really, like, to walk downtown. It was just so, you dreaded picking up your phone because I was just thinking, like, what now? So I was really upset about that, and it hit me hard. I had never had someone belittle me online as a title holder and what I was doing. Like, this wasn't my personal page. This was literally my Samantha Sewell public figure page that they were targeting me on. However, the director back then for Miss Royalty International she had a history in law, so she told me and helped me what to do. She's like, oh, contact the media just so they can get it out. So I contacted Castanet, which is a large, here in BC, it's very large, a media organization who had supported me already, just to say, like, can you just at least just share on Facebook that this is an internet troll? And they made a whole post about it. Like, I'm talking a full article about it. And it was shared thousands of times. And it ended up on the national news that I was being targeted. And I actually got more support from that type of bully attack than I got hate. As soon as I reported it, I reported it to Facebook, I reported it to the needed people, and it got removed. And that moment helped me realize that even though I'm an advocate for bullying, I'm not immune to it.
And that's something that people don't understand, because they think like their comments they will serve a purpose of probably damaging someone, right? But they don't understand what the other person, there's a human being behind the social profile, and that people feel they feel sad, emotional. They can take it in a very wrong way, and they could do things that people have no idea they would be able to, right? Just because of that. Like, everybody is different, but it can definitely hurt too much.
Exactly. I think the issue with cyberbullying too is that you're not really coming from your voice. It takes a lot less strength to write something online than say something in person. So I believe that more people need to think about the consequences of cyberbullying and think about reread it to fully understand what it sounds like and what it could sound like to someone else. The thing I always like to tell the children I speak to nearly every year on Pink Shirt Day, I tell them the truth. In Canada, cyberbullying is actually illegal, and if you're caught, children older than 10 years old can have their phones, their tablets, their laptops, whatever they're using for cyberbullying, taken away from them by the police. Adults can also be fined, as well as go to jail, all for cyberbullying. Like, it's a serious issue, and it's a serious offense, and it's all trackable.
The fact that someone feels scared of, like what you were saying, that you felt scared to grab a phone call, that's because you have the terror in you of who will it be? Will it be this person? So that's cyber terrorism too, which is a crime. And yeah, totally, they can go to jail. It's something really dangerous. So people watching out there who are thinking about doing cyberbullying, they should be aware of it. Like, it's not going to be easy. The justice arm is very, very, very long, and you can get in trouble. I think there's nothing better than if you see something you don't really like, just let it go. Just pass. Just keep browsing, right?
Yeah.
I think
I think a lot of people
easier.
also don't know that cyberbullying, I didn't know this until I was an advocate, that cyberbullying is also texting. If you text someone back and forth, even talking about someone, or if you just text them like a bully statement, that is cyberbullying. I did not know that until I was an advocate. And I know, like, when I tell the school, some of the teachers even are going like, oh, what? So I think there's just a lot of it that people are not educated well enough about.
And it's good. That's why this initiative of, the pink shirt day is positive, that people celebrate. Like, we really need to celebrate and put it out there. I know in Vernon they do something. They can do this here, which is sharing muffins. The cupcakes.
Yeah.
Is it at the club, the Vernon Kids Club or something like that?
It's usually with Vernon Boys and Girls Club, as well as NONA, which is North Okanagan Neurological Association, and they sell cupcakes, and they each have a little kindness note on them. It's super cute. Actually, my preschool that I work at usually buys a bunch to bring over. They're super cute. The other thing that Vernon does is really cool, and they might be able to do it this year. I'm not sure if they're doing it or not, but they usually turn one police car pink for the week. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm
nice.
not sure. But it's the coolest thing ever. And let me tell you, all the kids just
I
it's a
would do
great way
it.
to get a conversation going, because that police car is literally pink. Like, it's really cool.
That I would do it, definitely. You know what? I was talking, now that you say that, those cupcakes, they have a positive message, like a kind message in it, or in them. I was talking last week to Janae Iverson. She was Miss Southern Alberta, Miss Teen Alberta. I think it was 2 years ago, 2021, 2 years ago, I think. But she is Miss Teen Echo Canada, and she went to Miss Echo International, Miss Teen Echo, or Echo Teen International. And her advocacy is basically promoting, intentional acts of kindness.
Oh, random acts of kindness.
Yeah, and she went through, from coast to coast, from what I understood, putting these stones with kind messages all over the country.
Cool.
Yeah, I was like, girl, that's nice.
Really cool.
Yeah, and I think people need more of that in their lives. Like, they would be happier, and if negative thoughts just cross your mind, you probably have to try to think about something positive. Instead of harming people, probably just try to help someone. Just give a word of support to someone. You never know how that can make a huge difference on people's lives.
100%, yes. You're frozen. Can you hear me? Oh, there you go.
Did I freeze?
You're like,
I'm curious.
yeah.
Because, we've been doing this like all day, and all afternoon. And when I was talking to Matea and Mersey, I was like, you guys froze. And they were like, hey, Angelo, you froze. And I'm like, oh my God, we're all freezing today. And weather is so nice. Like, it doesn't really make sense, right? But
Finally got nice, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's nicer in Vernon too?
It's nice now, yeah.
BC
We were at 2 degrees today, Celsius. So finally able to go out with the children.
Yes, that's true. And I think in BC there's always good weather. Like, I've gone through Vernon, Kelowna.
Well, last week we got to minus 25.
That's not nice.
No.
That's definitely not nice. But the summers are really warm. I love it. Like, I gotta confess this. People from other provinces don't hate me, but I love BC. I've told this to many people. It's just beautiful. Every province has its own beauty, right? But
BC is the most beautiful place on earth for a reason.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no, but you know what? I have to agree with that because I do like it. The fact that I can swim in the lake in the Okanagan, I mean, I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, and the weather, it's really good. Guys, you should try it. The Okanagan in any of the cities, especially in Vernon, where we have Samantha. Because I come from the Caribbean where the beaches are like the water is really warm, and the Okanagan is the closest I felt to to warm water. And guys, you gotta try it. You gotta try it. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, Samantha, have you had any experience of bullying from someone closer to you? We talked about that teacher, who were going to just strut an ice cream on her face or something like that. Cake on the face.
Well, I've really been bullied my whole life. I remember as early as grade 3 getting bullied due to the fact that I have a speech impediment, and when I moved to a larger town, if you remember, before grade 3, I was in North Shuswap, where there was 50 children for the whole school. So I moved to a large town where there was a lot more kids. No one knew who I was. No one understood me. So I remember going to elementary school and never playing at first on the playgrounds because I would just be sitting because no one would play with me. I remember telling my only 2 friends that I wanted to drop out of school because I wasn't happy. I went to the bathroom in elementary school, and people would have taken pens and wrote on the bathroom how terrible I was and how I sucked. I did not enjoy school. I just remember as far back getting bullied. In grade 4, we did a grade 4 yearbook, and everyone had these beautiful messages, except for mine. Mine was all just see you, or just their signature. So I was never really included, and I've always felt like an outsider, even in my own area and in my own school, in my own community. I've always felt different than everyone else. I never felt included. I never felt the same. I always felt like I had to try extra hard to even just be liked because they couldn't understand what I was saying. And once again, because I couldn't speak, people automatically assumed that A, I couldn't hear, so they could say whatever they wanted about me, or B, I couldn't comprehend what they were saying because I must be something weird. And people didn't view me as human. They didn't view me as the same as everybody else because I was different.
And that really hurts when people don't understand that they can change that. Like, we can help changing that. But
Well, in grade
how?
9, in grade 9, the one thing I always will stick with me is that teacher who saved my life in grade 8 and grade 9, that French teacher. He always told me one thing, that a million people can say how amazing your shirt is today, how awesome that shirt is, how beautiful that shirt is. But if just one person goes, ew, that shirt's ugly, that's what you automatically think. That's the one you believe. That's the one you remember is the negative. It's how our brains are wired. So I tell everyone I can that because I want people to always think about what they're saying, because you don't want to be that negative person.
And it's really hard to get out of there sometimes, but you do. Like, at some point you're like, okay, if you don't like it, then it's your business, not mine. That's your comment. I respect it. I don't agree with it, but I respect it. That's your opinion, and it's right there. I'll just leave it right there. But how can someone, or how do you think someone could overcome situations like numerous situations where bullying is present?
As the victim or the bystander?
As a victim.
As the victim, there are a couple things that I would really push to do. Once again, I usually speak to younger children, so a lot of my thoughts are for children in school, but it can work with individuals who are older as well. The number one thing is always don't be afraid to reach out. You can reach out to your close friends, to your family. For me, I always reached out to my mom. She was my rock. She was the only one and my dad, of course, but my mom mostly was the only one that I really spoke to and I was connected with and I was with all the time and I was able to express how it made me feel. And if you're not comfortable speaking to your family, to your friends, that's okay, because there are helplines out there to help you. Don't be afraid to call them. I called a helpline in grade 9 when I was severely depressed. I had crawled out of that room with that teacher and I hid in a bathroom. And being a teenager I had a Halloween chocolate bar on me and I decided to eat it. And because I was just hiding, I didn't really want to talk to anybody. But on the back of Nestea chocolate bars is the kids' help phone, 1-800-668-6868. So I decided, what do I have to lose? So I picked up my phone, and I mean, we all have our phones with us at all times. And I phoned that number, and the voice on the other end was calm. She reassured me that it was not my fault, that everything was okay and it wasn't my fault. And she just went on to make me feel comfortable and that I was okay being me. So those helplines, even though there's a cliche around them and people view them as like, only if I'm suicidal, I don't need that. They are here to help. They are not they're not picky. They're not judgmental. They don't track you, which is another stereotype that they think it's like, oh, they're going to track who I am. They don't. It's all anonymous. They don't even have your area code when you phone. So don't be afraid to pick up that phone and phone a helpline. Kids Help Phone also has extended this year, which is amazing, with Here to Help, which is a texting service for adults that you can text and get help. So once again, if you're not comfortable phoning and speaking on the phone, you can text someone and get that support as well. So the best thing I can always say to victims is don't be afraid to reach out. And with Here to Help too, they've also extended it to email. So if you don't have a phone, you can now email too. So there's a million different ways out there right now where you can get support and you're going to get help and you can get it anonymously. The other positive things about the helplines is that if you don't like where the conversation's going, you can hang up. You can stop the text. You can delete the emails. You don't have to keep going, but you've still reached out and got some support.
So it's a very safe environment. It's very safe choice. Like at no point you will feel like a stranger, like you should be doing that or scared of texting or calling. They're there for you, and they're not judgmental. They're there to help you. And to make you see things as they are, like through a piece of glass. And I think that's something really positive. I'm really glad that they have also for adults. Like I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's new this year, so I don't have the number memorized. Yeah, I need to memorize that one. I was really excited when I saw that as well.
Yeah, because it's a really good resource. Like I'm so glad that in this era we have all these resources like at our reach. And we can just make use of them. I think they're free. There's a lot of volunteers working behind those lines. And it's really good. Like they're doing an amazing job. I think they should be recognized on this special day as well for the Pink Shirt Day, because they're saving lives. They're saving so many people and saving a world where there is a lot of bullying and a lot of criticism around us. And they still, they're still doing a great labor. Thank you very much, Samantha. It was really nice talking to you again and going through this topic, which I know is very close to your heart.
Yeah.
And it's also very inspiring for other people watching right there. And I know that you had to rush from work. You haven't had dinner because you wanted to be here sharing with everybody on this special day because it's the Pink Shirt Day. Thank you very much. I don't want to say goodbye until you show me that sash, because it's your new sash and it's the actual Miss Tourism World Canada sash, and I want to see it. I want everybody to see it. It's beautiful.
It is so insane. It is so thick. I don't know if you can see that.
I can see. Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Thick and just
the gems.
stunning. I love it. And then of course, better get that in because that's the logo.
Oh my god, it's really nice. It's really beautiful. Well, you
It's the
gotta
only-
enjoy that.
And magnet clasps, they're not Velcro.
That's never falling off, girl.
No. But you know what? I'm okay with that because some of my sashes are just like,
I've recently seen that, and we're like, why didn't you put magnets on them?
yeah, I've never had a sash with magnets before. This is the first one, so I'm really impressed.
It's a really good one. Well, I hope you enjoy your sash, Samantha, and we want to hear more about you before you go to compete for Mistress World.
Of course, I'll have to give you a sneak peek later on about in the future about my national costume that my mom is creating.
Oh my god, I gotta see that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Samantha. Say hi to your mom, and I'm very glad that she's supporting you through the journey for for Mistress World. And yeah, I hope to see more of you right there. Thank you very much, Samantha. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. This was Samantha Sewell, Miss Tourism World Canada 2021, in this Pink Shirt Day. And I hope to see you soon in another episode of Backstage with Angela. Thank you.